Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have an old Genrac 5,000 watt generator here powered by a Briggs and Straton 10 horse engine. Now this thing, as you can tell, has been sitting for a few days. I got this also from my grandparents' estate, just like that was. If you haven't seen the video on that one, I'll put a little thing here that should pop up. You can click on that and I do a little fix and clean up on that. But this one here, I don't know a lot about it. Only thing I know is that it hasn't ran in a while. I don't think there's any fuel in it. It's completely drained and it hasn't seen any water or cleaning in an awfully long time. I hope to get it fixed, running, and reliable, and I possibly will use it at my house if the power goes out, because periodically the power does go out with windstorms and whatnot, so it'd be nice to have a generator that can power the lights and maybe the refrigerator and stuff. So I'm going to start off by taking my compressed air and maybe blowing all the spider webs and stuff off of it, and then I'll start going through the process and see, do I have oil? Does it crank over? Do I have spark? Can I dump some fuel down it and see if it'll go? That kind of thing. So let's dig in. All right, before I get any further, I just wanted to make sure that it's gonna crank over. Okay, it does. Good. Now I know the engine's not locked up. I'm gonna pull the air cleaner off here. I just want to make sure that there's nothing living in here, and that when I do try to actually start it up, that I'm not going to suck a bunch of stuff into the motor and then waste all my energy. Oh, actually looks pretty clean. A few spiders, but nothing crazy. Cool. We'll leave that off for now. Choke works. Cool. Looks like I will have to replace this hose here eventually, but that's not detrimental to the operation of the motor, so that's no big deal. All right. Do I have oil? Oh, that is very watery. That's not good. All right. That's going to be a problem. I'm glad I checked that. Okay, so it is clear that water was introduced into the motor. That's not going to be good, so this might be a boat anchor. Yeah, that shouldn't do that. I just noticed this wire was unplugged here. I believe that goes there, and I also believe that this is the sensor for oil pressure, so it will sense that the oil pressure is low and disable the engine, which makes a lot of sense why it's unplugged. It was probably having problems with pressure, and they figured out, oh, if I unplug this, it'll stay running. Well, yeah, it will, but you're gonna have problems in the meantime. So unfortunately, yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. So these small engines usually don't take that much oil. All you do is you start dumping your oil in and you pull. If it's got two access ports, see how it's already coming out of the hole there? That's all it's supposed to get. Only level with the hole. So we're gonna plug that up, and then if I do get this running and it sounds okay, I'll probably drain it and refill it again a couple times just to flush out any of that water that was in there. I'm thinking that was water. It almost smelled like fuel. So anyway, that's done. Let me correct the record. I should have known when it was pouring out of here, but all that in that crankcase, that's fuel. That's not water. That's better. Still not good. If it would have been water coming out of here, it would have been more of a milkshake consistency. since it was fuel, all it did is act as a solvent and made the fuel thin. So I have a chance here, I think. So that's better. But that means what had happened was the fuel shut off, never got turned off. The fuel going into the carburetor, the float is stuck open. The needle stuck open. Fuel getting into the cylinder over time, leaked into the crankcase, and that's what happened. So that could have been solved by just turning this that way, and then we wouldn't have had that. However, not the end of the world. I think it's savable, so that's a good thing. Now, since I got oil in it, I do want to splash some fuel into the tank, and I guess just crank it over a few times to see if anything comes out. But maybe before I do that, I'll pull the spark plug out, make sure I have some spark there before I do that. There we go. Sweet. All right, should be a 5/8, and it is. And I've seen a lot worse. That should still work. So let's put this back here, and we'll ground this out on that bracket there, and then you guys tell me if you see a spark. Come on. Oh, I guess I gotta turn it on, don't I? Yep. Oh yeah, there's spark. That's a good thing. All right, so let's put that plug back in. Got fresh oil. I know it's got spark. I know it cranks over, so I'm gonna dump a little bit of fuel down the gas tank here. Not a lot, just enough to allow it to run for a couple seconds. That should be good. And then I'll give her a few pulls here and see what happens. It's on. Choke's on. All right, here we go. Some of this stuff out of the way. All right, here we go. Not expecting it to fire off that soon. Don't know why it shut off on its own though. Let's see if it'll fire back up. That was too easy. Well, let's put the air cleaner back on. The only thing left to do is to actually plug something in and test it and make sure the generator itself is working. Okay, so I got two 120 volt outlets and I got one 240 volt outlet. I'm just going to plug this electric drill into the generator here. See if it starts up as easy as it did before. That was way too easy. All right, put the wire back on. Let's see if it still starts and runs with that hooked up. seems fine. So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna give it a good wipe down, see if I can bring some of the newness back out of it. And then that'll do it.